Welcome back to Rad Dads, a podcast where I, Micah Sherman, interview some of the coolest dads I know who have a big heart for their families and an even bigger love for Jesus. Today's episode is very special to me as I get to interview a close family member of mine who is a seasoned dad of all girls. Our verse of the episode is from Matthew 22:37-40. And he said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the greatest and first commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself." Grab your coffee and maybe a box of tissues for this one, folks, and let's get started. Welcome back to the fourth episode of Rad Dads. Last week, if you tuned in, I got the opportunity to interview Ben Mayberry, who is a boy dad of three boys. And this week, we're going to the other side of the pendulum, and I have the distinct honor of interviewing my father-in-law, Cosmo D'Aquila. So welcome to the show, Cosmo.
Thank you.
So we start every episode. It's called a scouting report. So I get to do my homework and kind of share a little, brag about you a little bit. So Cosmo is a dad of four girls, and he also owns his own deli. And you have been working there for how long, and how long have you owned it?
It's been in business for over 50 years. I got a good 45 into it, probably. Believe it or not, that's crazy, huh?
Yeah, long time.
Yeah.
It's a legacy. And some other pieces of who Cosmo is. He is a master chef. He's a mountain biker, Mr. Fix-It / Build It, architectural artist. I'm going to keep going, Cosmo, so
That's too
hang
much.
in there. You're a fantastic host with him and his wife, natural mentor with a huge heart to serve all those around him. And then your wife, I asked her some qualities that you have that she admires about you. And she said that you're wise, strong, sensitive companion, best girl dad ever, straight from your wife.
Wow.
And then lastly, just a great mediator, someone that she said she'd go to for advice from, and fair-minded.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
You don't get to hear that every day.
No, I don't.
You know? So, so let's get into it. So tell us maybe a little bit more about, I mentioned you have four daughters. One is my wife, kind of their ages, and maybe a little bit more about what you do for your job.
All right. We have four daughters, Dessa, Kinsey, Cosmo, and Liana. When we got started with this journey, you get married, and we got married fairly young. I think I was 25, and all of a sudden we were pregnant, which was a surprise. I guess we didn't realize we were supposed to wash our underwear in separate machines or something. But we had our first kid, and I can remember like it was yesterday, bringing her home, and then like looking at Laura going, "Oh my God, now what do we do? Call your mom. What are we supposed to do now?"
Yeah.
Trying to figure out, I grew up with, one brother, two sisters, typical Italian family, real close. And so, of course, you're going to mimic whatever, style that you grew up with. But, we just talked about how we're going to raise these kids, what's important to us. And a lot of it we didn't talk about until we actually got on a journey of, having kids. So they're all different. I remember when Dessa was born, and we got pregnant for the second one. It was like, I was really concerned on how am I going to love the second one as much as I love the first one.
Yep.
It was like a big deal to me. It's like, oh no, I was so close with Dessa. But it's amazing how you have a different love with each kid and how each one is special in their own ways. But so we have that. That's been going on for a while. My oldest, Dessa, is, oh my God, I'm going to blow it here, but 34, I think?
30, yeah, that sounds
33,
right.
34, something like that. And the youngest is 27, and a nice mix in between. Great kids. We have 1, 2, we have three son-in-laws, which are awesome. And so I always wanted a boy, but I got three great son-in-laws, so it's a great trade-off. I'm happy with that. Had my first grandson, so that was a new experience for me. It's like, I don't know how to act with a boy, right? What am I supposed to do?
Never had that before.
I'm not playing with dolls with him anymore. Now I get to throw a ball, which is kind of fun, and a beautiful granddaughter as well. But life, all the decisions you get to make that you never think about until they're in front of you, as far as how you're going to raise them, what are you going to feed them, where they're going to go to school, how do you, just all that stuff. It's, have a great partner who's made it fairly easy. Yeah. So
did you have any idea, do you think you would be a dad of all girls, 4 girls?
No, I never thought, like I said, at first I thought, we'd have a few kids, but kept thinking that boy was coming, was going to pass on the name and all that. But I did pass on my name, Cosmo, to my third daughter. And I remember my wife really was a big part of that too. She's the one who said, it's going to be good. We should do that. But nope, never thought I'd have 4 daughters. Yeah. Wish I had a couple more, though. It goes pretty quick.
Yeah. You're already, they're all adults. 3 of them are married now. Yeah, I can imagine. For me, it's already going by fast, and I only have a 4-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. Okay, so tell us what, as being a girl dad, what were kind of what was it like? What were kind of some of the highlights? What were some of the challenges of being a dad of 4 girls growing up?
Well, I was raised to be pretty much an independent thinker, I guess you would say. Like my dad always said, he's always instructed me to be a man, stand up, be able to stand on your own 2 feet, that kind of thing. So I always thought for my kids, as we were going learning all this, it's like, I want my girls to be their own person. I don't want them to depend on another, man. Yeah. I want them to be strong, individual women, have their own minds, yada, yada, yada. I think we did fairly good. And I remember I used to be in martial arts, and I thought, I'm looking forward to training them all so they can defend themselves too,
Yeah.
Because again, and at that point in my life, I was thinking that it was me. It was all about, I'm strong, I'm this, I'm that. I never put God into the equation. But today, which I have trouble with this, shared my feelings. But today I would say all that's important, but I think being I could never do this. Being that grandfather, I want my grandkids to understand the Lord should be first.
Sure. Yeah. Definitely.
Give me a second. Go ahead, ask another question.
Well, I was thinking about, what are some of the traits that I see in all of your daughters? And I think definitely, they all are hard workers, man. They are all hard workers. And the other thing I think that I've seen in them too, they all have it, is a confidence in them, in who they are. You guys have a lot of family get-togethers, family reunions, birthdays, and they without a second thought, they're ready to share and speak in front of everybody. And that's not me and my siblings. They have a confidence about them that I think definitely that you and your wife have passed on to them, that I think is really special. And especially with Laura's birthday recently, they all got up and shared something about their mom, which I thought was so special.
Yeah, they're pretty incredible that way, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think that might be more of her mom's trait than dad's, but they're pretty awesome.
Well, growing up with all girls, so I assume you probably got your nails painted. They maybe dressed you up. I don't know. Was it like that? Was it?
No, I not so much. They pretty much wanted to pick up that paintbrush or that hammer and come out in the yard and dig. Cool. So they did play with their dolls and do dress up and stuff, but I wasn't really involved in that as much. But Kinsey would be outside with no shirt on and helping me paint, and she would just watch, just want to do stuff that Dad did, whatever. Yeah. And they all had something unique about them. But I remember Kinsey mostly She'd walk around half naked in the backyard.
Yeah. She wanted to be like her dad.
Yep.
Yeah.
She wanted to pee in the backyard. I told her that just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and, you know, a lot of their time we were trying to get them to have different opportunities, whether it was sports at school or drama or singing or dancing, and so they all got to kind of dabble in all that a little bit and find out. And my daughter Cosmo really thrived with dance. She took off in the dance realm of everything. She was an incredible dancer, still is. And Dessa has a beautiful voice. Kinsey has a great voice. As a matter of fact, she started her own little band and, you know, went pretty far with all that. And still, today, she's still writing music and stuff. And Liana, she's got Dad's work ethic, that's for sure.
And a great sense of humor.
Great sense of humor. That kid, I mean, someone who's really fun to be around, keeps things very exciting, that's for sure. Never a dull moment, you know.
Yeah, they're definitely all very different, but and I think that you guys have done such a good job of encouraging them with whatever they have had interest in and supporting them in that, because they all do some very different things, from, you know, Dessa with her farm and agriculture, right? And everything.
And here's a girl who wanted to play with dolls and hated animals and whatever, and now she wants to be a farmer. Incredible. How things change.
No kidding. I was also going to say, you know, like you guys, you mentioned, like, man, faith is so important. And so many times, you guys are great hosts. So you host a lot. And every time we have people together, we always start with prayer before our meals and stuff. And every time, you know, I think as you've gotten older, you're a little more sensitive, especially when things come to faith.
Oh yeah,
that
big time.
You start kind of choking up when we talk about those. And I've noticed that as soon as Dad does that, I look at all the daughters and all of them are teary-eyed too. So I think it's really special to see, Cosmo, how you as their dad, you have such a strong connection to their heart. When they see you, man, there's a special connection there, and they really value what you think, what you feel, and your input in their life, and that's very evident to everybody.
They're great kids.
Yeah. This really could be multiple episodes, because I think you're such a huge wealth of experience and wisdom. So this one episode isn't going to do it justice, but we're going to do as best we can. Anything, so you mentioned faith, essentials of being a girl dad. Are there any other things you feel like, every girl dad needs to know this is important of being a girl dad? Anything else that sticks out?
Oh, hugely. You gotta be a good listener.
Good listener. Okay. Yeah.
I think listening is important, but being involved in their day-to-day, sorry guys, being involved in their day-to-day, ask questions. And sometimes as a dad, you're so busy with just trying to make ends meet, paying bills and covering all the expenses so they can have these different experiences.
Yeah.
You get, so I think that can be overwhelming when we get lost, but I think it's super important to slow down and listen and, talk to them about their dreams and share things that, that you've experienced growing up. A lot of dads don't do that. And I think a lot of dads could either busy or they don't know how to share, or they think it's weak if they get emotional. And God's blessed me with this emotion that I don't know where. I wasn't like this before I had 4 daughters. So I used to, but now I've been crying ever since. I don't get what the problem is. But okay, Lord, if that's what you want, that's the way it's going to go. Yeah. But I think the most important thing is to take time and listen to their dreams and what they want to do. And of course encourage them, which whatever they're doing, and help them try different things. You try to, guide them in good choices that that they're making. If they're going to be, whether they're going to be an athlete or a musician or what their favorite studies are. You can kind of help them see where their strengths are and help them get there, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
I don't know if that's kind of the answer to the question.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great advice, even for my daughter. I know that just sitting there and listening to her, no matter what she's talking about,
right,
makes a difference, and she appreciates it.
And you may not always agree with what they're saying,
right.
but my dad, I remember he used to say about his dad, taught him that, you know, it's once you say something, you can't take it back. So be very thoughtful or careful on the words that you use, and think about what you're trying to explain. If you're trying to discipline them, you know, and what it is you want to teach them or whatever, you know, choose your words well, because they stay. They're not going to go away.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, your words carry weight, no matter what they are. So as we mentioned before, Cosmo's a business owner, owns his own deli. It's been the family for how many years again?
Over 50. Over
50 years. So there's a legacy there, a lot of hard work, a lot of pain, blood, sweat, tears. For any dads that own their own business, what advice would you give for just kind of keeping balance between work and family, and just being a dad and owning your own business?
Good question. Because when you're in the heat of it, whether it's a business or work, or even if you're just an employee working for somebody and you're trying to take care of your family and bring home the bacon, I guess you could say. When things get tough, you have a tendency to just, I got to work harder. I got to spend more time at work. We need these things for our kids. We need these things for our family, or whatever that may be. So a lot of times it's easy to get lost in your work and not have as much time for your family, I guess, or minimal time, and then that kind of, I think, hurts your family. But I think more important is, which again I've learned, I didn't always do this, is to try to put God first, you know, and then your family and your business, and kind of, in other words, have the right order. You know, if God's blessing your business, you got nothing to worry about. But you have to have that connection with your faith, and listen to how He's guiding you. You know, and try to do the best you can with whatever it is kind of business that you do. But you know, then it's your family's there, and then your work. And I know a lot of people say, "Well, if I don't have my job, I don't have my family." And I used to think the same thing, but for some reason, I've seen a lot of changes with God will provide. Maybe not always as fast as we wanted or something, but you know,
timing is different sometimes.
Yeah. So it's like, I think it's all seasonal. Sometimes we got to wait. Sometimes we think He's not listening, but our family's been hugely blessed, and I guess hard work is a big part of it. And there's a time in your life that you just have to put your head down and work hard to get ahead. And in today's world, I see the struggles my kids have and other friends, and it's tough. So, but I think, you know, balance is important. You know, I was always raised to, you know, save, you know, for that rainy day, and to take part of your salary, whatever it is. And there's times when we were living check to check, and actually negative. It's like we'd be short. We didn't have enough money to pay everything that we paid. And, you know, that's where the credit cards come in. But that's dangerous, man. If, you know, once the credit card debt starts adding up, it's really hard to get it under control. So I would encourage to stay away from those credit cards. But
yeah.
So that means just, you know, live frugally and try not to overdo whatever it is that you have to work with. But, yeah, I mean, I'm past raising the family. Now I get to enjoy my grandkids. But, you know, I tell my kids, guys, it's not going to happen tomorrow. You're going to work hard for something. I mean, I spent my whole life working to get to where I'm at today. Right. And I look at other people who either traveled when they were younger and they did a lot more than I did, you know. But I don't know. I think everyone's journey is different. Some people that's good for, some people. But, you know, and all I can do is just, you know, my dad, I watched my mom and dad, what they did. with our family and how they move forward. And some of it I mimicked, and some of it I go, I don't want that for my family. I want this, you know. So yeah, I think it's learning. I think it's important that you look, you know, talk to a lot of older people. Mentors are great. You know, listen to their stories for sure. You know,
glean from them what you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, you mentioned at one point you were living check to check, but I'm sure looking back on it now, you're like, man, like, do you feel like God had you in his hands the whole time, even in those moments?
Yeah, but I wasn't plugged in maybe at that
Sure.
point. You know, I was still struggling that I'm the bread maker and I'm going to fix it and I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to figure out who was really in charge. But yeah, I think he's had our best interests my whole life. You know, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But again, I think balance is cool. It's super important. You know, and how. So again, as I look at my youngest daughter who just got married, she's been married a year, and they have dreams and stuff they want to do, and they're struggling with everything is ridiculously expensive today. You know, for what they have to pay just to rent a place, it's stupid. You know, but you know, I like you know, be patient. It's not gonna happen right away.
Sure.
You keep saving, you keep chipping away at it, and I promise you'll get there. It might take longer than it did when we were younger. But you're going to work just as hard as we did, if not harder, you know? Sure,
yeah.
But, you know.
And I feel like our generation, patience is a lot harder for us because, you know, everything's at our fingertips.
Right.
Or I think your generation, you really did have to work for everything that you know, wanted. And so I think, man, patience is always such good advice. Like, hey, it's going to come, it's going to happen, but like, stay the course, you know, do your job, do your work.
Absolutely. When my dad used to give us, I remember my brother and I would go to work with him, sweeping up an alley or doing whatever we did as young kids, and he would give us a 50-cent piece. And, you know, I'd want to go out and do something right away and buy something, and they'd encourage us, no, you do not do that. You save it until you have enough to do, you know, what are you buying and what do you need and that kind of stuff. And I will tell you, my brother is very good at that. He probably still has that first 50-cent piece that my dad gave him. I guarantee he's got it tucked away somewhere. He's a saver. He's a good saver. But so they instructed us, guided us to do that, and to know that whatever dreams you have, and to dream big and work hard for what your dreams are, and you'll get them. But to be patient, I guess, is the main thing. You know.
Right. Yeah. Back to patience. Moving on, so your kids are obviously adults now. So you've been through the years of them being young and going through school and everything, and now they're adults. What do you think, how has your role changed from, you know, being dad of, you know, elementary, junior high, high school to now? What does your role look like as a dad of kids that are adults?
Right. Well, when they're younger, you're constantly grooming and trying to guide them down a path of, you know, I can say righteousness or making good choices, I guess. I think now I'm not, I'm there to support their choices. I still want to be involved. I still want to be involved in their life, but it's their choices. I mean, I talk to my daughters and say, you know, I may not always agree with the choices that you're making, but these are your choices. You're old enough to make your own decision on whatever it is. So we're going to support and work with you through that. But it's kind of nice to step back and see some stuff stuck really good and some stuff didn't. But you know, they'll figure it out. They have to make their own mistakes, and they have to, as long as they keep stepping forward. And I'm like, that's the main thing. Just don't give up. Just keep working hard, stepping forward, working hard, and you'll get to where you want to go. You know, but it's important that you know where you're trying to get, I guess. So it's good to have a clear focus on what is it I want in my life. Is it whether I'm working towards paying off my school loans or a career, or I'm working towards finishing my career, or I'm working towards this, or whatever that may be. Okay, well, so I think it's good that you kind of put in order what's important, so at least you have some goals to meet, you know?
Yeah. So kind of being a voice of wisdom when they need it.
Yeah. Try to, yep.
Yeah, right. And trying your best to do that. Yeah. Is that in some ways harder or easier? Maybe it's a little bit of both, being more of the supportive role rather than the, hey, this is the direction we're going kind of role.
No, I think it's. I don't know if it's easier or harder. I just love being around them. They're a lot of fun to hang with. It's also fun to see them get to where they want to be, whatever that, and each one of them, it has different goals they're trying to make. But just loving on them, spending time with them is enough. And now that we have some grandkids, that makes it even more special.
Yeah,
so
for sure. Is there a season, again, your kids are adults, so is there a season, like if you could go back to a season of a certain age of your kids, what would it be? What ages would it be?
Well, when we bought this house, which my wife found, and we rented the one we were in after we just got done killing ourselves for years on remodeling. It's a real nice house that we had, and we moved. She says, I found this place, it'll be a good fixer-upper. This is before the fixer-upper shows came out.
Right, yeah.
She
original.
She had this dream that she went, all right. So we found this place, and we all moved in there. And they were all younger. And it was crazy. And we lived in the backyard in a trailer, and it rained on us. And,
so you weren't even living in the house. You were in a trailer outside the house.
When the remodeling started on that one, we were outside. And as crazy as that time was, and as little money as we had, and we didn't know what tomorrow was going to bring, it was awesome. It was a great time in our life. It was very exciting for Laura and I and the kids. I mean, I think even for some of their best memories, I think it was Liana said, it was Halloween, I don't know the year, but it was way back when, and we're all in this little trailer that we were sleeping in. It was raining, and the roof was leaking, and poor mom was sick, throwing up in the pumpkin.
In the pumpkin.
In the pumpkin.
It's a good spot.
And Liana goes, that was so much fun. I remember sleeping there. And we used to have to climb through a fence to get into the house that we were fixing up to use the shower. But it was just a fun time. It was chaotic, but a lot of laughs. We had a lot of good times when they were younger.
Yeah.
I'd say that would be a fun time to go back to.
I've heard them talk about living in the trailer, and it's so funny to think that and all of them talk about it fondly. They don't remember any of the hard, difficult moments, anything like that. Like they talk about it so fondly. So I feel like it seems like it gives me so much perspective on you as a parent might see all the hard things, but
we want to make it better and easier. And they, you know what, that's the stuff they remember is give me the cardboard box so I can play in that all day long.
Right.
The simple things they just
the simple things. Yeah. Didn't you say they had to use the bathroom outside all the time too?
Well, Dad would pee in the backyard often, so they all wanted to do the same thing. So they all learned how to squat at a young age.
That's a good skill to learn, right? As a girl. You can do it, out in the wilderness. You don't have to have a toilet.
That's so true.
That's great.
Your wife takes a lot of pride in that. I mean, a few trips going up to Lake Tahoe, we pulled over on the side of the road, and she was so excited to be able to just get out and do her business.
Yep. Hey, I don't think every girl has that skill, that confidence, let's say, to be able to do that. And how about you also mentioned in the beginning, okay, now you're a grandpa. My daughter's 4, and we have a boy that's a year and a half. Logan and Paxton. Logan's my daughter. Paxton's my son. What do you love most about being grandpa?
Oh, God. Well, you go back to when your kids were little, of course. You kind of see traits that your grandkids have that your kids had or whatever. But just being able to just enjoy them. Because when my kids were younger, I was so busy working, I couldn't just sit down for 2 hours and just say, I don't give it, whatever about the day. I just sit there and do whatever. I remember when we went camping with Paxton, I was just walking through the parking lot, picking up seashells on the beach. Yeah. Time wasn't a problem, but when my kids were younger, sorry to say, it was like, I got to go to work. I got to go. Right. And you're always pushing because it's all about the money. So I would say as a grandparent, it's not about the money anymore. We're just fortunate that that's true. Maybe other grandparents are struggling still, but I mean, we're fortunate enough to say we can take the time now and just spend it with either our kids or our grandkids, which is awesome, and it's really enjoyable. I don't even have to say anything. I can just sit in the back in a corner and watch them, and it's fun just to see what they're doing. And it's kind of fun because out of my 4 daughters, they a lot of people say, "Did you guys fight growing up?" And they never fought, man. They were always just they have little,
Right.
little things, but never like some people talk. Oh man, my sister and I used to beat each other up or whatever, but they all care for each other. They all have great hearts, and I'm sure they get that from their mom quite a bit because she's got a great heart too. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Is there anything that you, obviously, being present, being a little more present, that you want to be able to do differently with your now grandkids? Yeah.
Yes, I guess that's well, not only with just my grandkids, but my friends too. I want to share my faith, which is always hard to talk about because I never needed God. But I know how important it is that you put Him in your life and put Him first. So I guess that's going to be the first and foremost that I'm going to teach my grandkids, or at least talk to them, about them more than I did with my kids, and have them, feel confident enough not to feel that they can't ask questions about who He is or whatever. Just I want them to know Him on a personal basis, I guess. And even some of my good friends, I bring it up, we talk about it. Just some of them know the Lord real well, some know at a distance, but I think that's whatever time I have left.
Yeah, that's a big job.
Yep, that's my goal.
Yeah.
And for me to know Him better too. I mean, I feel like I have a decent relationship with Him, but just to get deeper.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good goal.
Yeah.
Grandparent and dad, for sure. How about with your parents? What are things that you loved and admired so much about your parents that you have continued or want to continue to kind of pass on to your kids and grandkids?
Yeah. Well, again, my mom and dad, their work ethic was, my mom is an immigrant. She came on a boat from Italy. So she's worked, she was there World War II. Great stories. And the stuff that she had to live through made her a strong person, very strong person. And my dad too, he's, hardworking, strong person, loved my mom. She's no longer with us, but I see her every day, and things. But their willingness to share is something I'd want to pass on. And I think my kids got it already because they experienced it firsthand from my mom and dad. But always wanting to have parties, and it's not some people want parties for different reasons. They weren't showing off or doing anything, but they wanted to share the things that they worked hard for, that they were able to gather. Whether they built a new business or they built a new house, they celebrated. They always invited all the people that were involved. Yeah. Whether they were painters or just good friends that helped, whatever, bankers, and they always kept them really close and wanted them to be part of this celebration of whatever it is that they were conquering, or whatever you would call it. But very gracious that way, very willing. My mom, one of the best hosts. You couldn't walk in the door without her first question being, "What can I do for you? What can I get for you? Let me cook you something. Let me get you something." She was just a server, and and I think we've my brothers and my sisters and we've all learned that. What was the question again?
Passing on things you want to pass on from that your parents also taught you, like you were mentioning hosting.
Yeah, well, those would be it, and the love that they shared.
Yeah,
they never were afraid to tell us that they loved us, which was a lot of kids don't get that from their parents or grandparents. They're just my dad. I've heard some of the kids. My dad never told me.
Sure, right.
Which is, man, I think about that. How hard would that be? So those simple things, and I don't think we're going to kind of rewind and go right back to if you don't know Jesus, your heart's not going to allow you to do that.
Sure,
your heart has to be softened so you can speak the truth.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think you're spot on. I mean, you think about the life of Jesus, and he never even had a home, and he was hosting people and eating together with people.
Right.
And how many people he fed, the 5,000s, the 10,000s,
Right.
and like what an incredible host he was as a model. And speaking from our experience, like, getting to be hosted by Grandma Leah and Ben, Papa Ben now, and then getting to be hosted by you guys too. I mean, you guys are fantastic hosts, and it's so fun to see how many different types of people come to your house, because it's not always just family, it's friends too. And I love seeing it, Kinsey, your daughter, and for like a birthday of hers or a party that she has, it's so fun to see all of her friends. She has so many types of friends, and they all, they see you guys as another set of parents to them. And I've heard her friends say like, oh yeah, like Mama Laura, like that's my other mom, and it's so special. And they can be very different lifestyles and perspectives of life, but they know when they come to your house, they're going to feel loved. And so, speaking from experience, you guys do that really well.
Yeah, and that just goes to show you that I think there's a lot of families that don't have that, maybe. And I always thought growing up, we had nothing special. It was just normal. Everybody's family does this? But I will share with you, we went on a trip when Liana graduated college. She was going to go to Europe for some time, and last minute she said, Dad, I'm going to be on this sailboat, and we're going to sail in Croatia. But it was set up for, I think it was 30 and younger was the age group.
Okay.
So I'm like, Lee, we can't go. No, you guys should go. We should bring the whole, So anyways, real quick, is the whole family got on board this boat, and there were several boats that sail, and they would all meet up. But it was weird because all these other boats, these kids, they wanted to be with us. And my daughter's like, Dad, I don't get it. Why do I want to hang out with you? And I go, I don't know, but it's cool. They're welcome aboard. Come on aboard, Mm-hmm. And they were sharing their life stories with us.
Yeah,
and, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, the power. I call it the power of the table. Like the power of sharing a meal with somebody. There's something spiritual to it. There's something Christ-centered about it. That all the walls come down. For some reason, all the walls come down. You can talk about it.
And all we got to do is slow down.
Yeah.
I have to do that, right? Just take a minute.
For sure.
So,
Yeah. Awesome. All right. We'll almost at the end. You've made it almost to the end, Cosmo.
Well, good job.
Good job. Maybe you can share just a couple of, biggest pieces of advice to any dads out there that are in the middle of parenting, little young ones or elementary, junior high, just kind of bringing it all back around the most important
I would just
things.
tell you, hang in there because it does get easier. Because when you're in the middle of it, it's like, oh my God, is this ever going to end? Am I ever going to have... It does get better. Just keep the course, keep stepping forward. Praise God every day. Ask Him for guidance. And you'll be fine. You're going to make it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think. And I've been to. I'm making you cry here.
Yeah, Lord.
I'm taking it too hard.
That's what I do now as a grandfather. I cry a lot. Well, when I had 4 daughters, you would think you'd be crying a lot, and that's what started. After 4 daughters, I've been crying ever since.
Yeah. And any favorite family trips you guys had together, or any funny stories you'd want to share at the end?
We were fortunate enough. We've had, my folks were fortunate enough to buy a place at the beach when my kids were little. So I would tell you that going to Grandma's house and spending a week on the beach for our summer vacation when the kids were little was probably there. I would tell you, I know that's going to be their biggest highlight. Mm-hmm. That was the best thing about growing up, is having that time, sitting, sun up to sundown on the beach, having pasta, a nice pasta meal with my mom and dad. Just having time together. But we also went to Lake Tahoe. My in-laws had a tradition that they'd go up there for Thanksgiving, and that was another huge blessing.
Yeah.
Just spending, so we got to spend time with both sides of the family, once a year, really good. And Yeah, we're again. Those are our two big ones.
Yeah, those family tradition trips.
Didn't matter where we were. It's just more. It was more like, just having time to slow things down and just hang around the dinner table. We would. So I don't even know how when my mom when I was a kid, we would sit around the dinner table for hours. Yeah. I don't know. How did we sit there for 3-4 hours? And they would ask us about school. They would talk about work. They would talk about. We never left the table. It was just food and dessert, and wine and whatever. And now, like I said, we really enjoy that with our kids. Just have a meal, share a meal, sit around, just talk about. Like to hear what they're doing.
That makes me think of we got to go with you guys to Italy. A really, really fun trip to Italy and got to visit your mom's roots.
Yeah.
And
my first time too.
Yeah. And one of the things I think we all took back too is like how long their meals are and how they just sit and they enjoy them. And little kids are up till like 9 p.m., whatever, but like they're enjoying their time and they're taking their time. And what a difference that is to American culture meals.
Oh, absolutely.
Of like, we're fast.
Well, now look, everything's drive-through because they don't even have time to sit at a table. They want to eat in the car.
We're sitting in front of the TV, which is fun, have, dinner in front of the TV, watch a movie together or something. Yeah. But most of the time it's so fast and that's the time you get to connect.
Right.
So making time for that, it's good to get out of American culture sometime to see, there's a different way to do this.
Right.
A little bit
I think
better.
getting around a table, and again, as when you have little kids, it's hectic because they're screaming, they're yelling, they're throwing food.
Speaking from
but
experience.
you know what? Yeah, but it's good.
Yeah.
Let them throw the food.
Right.
Let them do whatever. Just get them around the table. Get them used to sitting around talking about their whatever, or not talking, giggling.
Yeah.
And then clean it up. And I know it can be exhausting for mom and dad.
Right.
But I think that's some of the strongest
memories
bond you get to make with that. Yeah, memories and stuff.
That's good advice for me and Cosmo, because sometimes you're fighting battles you don't really need to fight, and that like if it's gonna be messy at the end, it's gonna be a little dirty. That's okay. Like this time we're not gonna get back. So soak it up and enjoy.
Well, you guys do a very good job.
We tried to do that.
Yeah, I'm proud of you guys.
We tried to do that. We've made it to the end. Would you mind praying us out, Cosmo, and specifically for girl dads, but just in general also, just any dads that could use some prayer?
I'll do my best. We'll see how this goes. But yes, I'd be happy to do it. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for this time with my son-in-law. Very proud of him. He is a great dad, and I know his kids will remember all the time he's taken and spent with them. I pray that other fathers, whether they have boys or girls, will take that time. It doesn't have to be every day, but they have a weekend they can sit down and spend some time and listen. It'd be huge for that young man or a young woman to remember that what their dad did. It's not about what you give them. I'm telling you right now, you can buy them a pretty dress or a nice bike. That's all good, but they're going to remember sitting on that lake with a fishing pole for hours, talking about their dreams. So, Lord, I ask that you continue to bless this family and all the families that are listening. In your great name, amen.
Hard to believe we have already finished 4 episodes. If you like this episode, please share it with a dad you know that you feel could use some encouragement. We are now on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you follow us on Spotify, hit that notification bell so you don't miss an episode. And if you follow us on Apple Podcasting and you like the episode, leave a 5-star review and follow our show as we continue this journey of fatherhood. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you guys next month in the coming episode of Rad Dads.